Being vulnerable is not easy, and being real with ourselves is not easy. And today in our series, we're invited to consider joy, that we need joy, and to rejoice, and to celebrate. We came through Lent, thanks be to God, and we came through Jesus' betrayal and execution during Holy Week. And now on the other side of death, we've made it to Easter. Alleluia. And I don't know about you, but for me this year, that turnaround in 1 week feels a little too quick and maybe even a little inauthentic. This year, I feel like I'm a caterpillar who's trying to decide if it's safe enough to start this cocoon process and everybody else is jumping out as butterflies. Some years, I wish for the Disney version of our life, the ones in saccharine colors and bright music playing, and everyone is just so jazzed to be there. And this year for Easter, I would settle for life with all its complexities and all our problems of just 6 months ago. When I had some hope about our presidential election, and the CDC website proclaimed actual science, and when we spoke of prison reform, the worst case meant that we were talking about an American prison on Cuban soil. That all feels like a different reality from the one we're living in today. And we can guess that Mary is also hoping for a different reality from the one she encounters at the tomb early on this morning. You know, she was not there to anoint the body or prepare it in any way for its burial. Because as we hear in the book of John, our gospel this morning, and as we heard in this sanctuary a few weeks ago, Jesus' body was anointed by a different Mary. And then in the passage just before ours this morning, we learn that Joseph of Arimathea received permission to take Jesus' body and to lay it in a fresh tomb in a garden near the cross. And then it says that Nicodemus brought myrrh and aloe. And our gospel writer John lets us know that all of the proper rites and rituals have been carried out. So what was Mary up to that morning? My hunch is that Mary went to go and to grieve. She expects a body, and when she does not find one, she goes to the guys for help. And when they prove to be really unhelpful, she begins to weep. And I know that Easter is not about weeping. Easter and resurrection are not really about grief and about pain. And yet, unlike the story as it is told to us as children, Easter is not really about escaping or a new reality being dropped on our heads. Maybe if, like Mary, this is the first time you've encountered this story, then sure, it's very mind-blowing, but most of us have been here before, and most of us have heard this story and have had many years to think about it. We know that Easter changes everything, and we know that no matter how many eggs we eat or cards we send for this day, Jesus is not going to shift the world order towards goodness when we leave through those front doors. Now, some might say that all of this is foolishness. Jesus lives, but so do the Romans. Jesus lives, but he still had to live through betrayal, torture, and death. Jesus lives, but Mary suffered immensely this week as she too watched and wondered and witnessed Jesus' suffering and death on a cross. And so she came to be with him, her friend, her leader, her teacher. I don't know that she even has the words for how important he is to her. And she needs to find him. And she is looking for that body. And then out of the chaos and the frustration, a voice calls her name, and Mary starts living in that new paradigm. Jesus lives. Jesus lives and breathes. He is here. And Mary witnesses and wonders. And Jesus is not staying long. And he sends her ahead of him to bring this good news to all of the world, starting with the disciples. Jesus needs her. He can't bring it about, God's commonwealth on earth by himself. Couldn't then, couldn't later, can't now, not at any rate, without her, Mary Magdalene. You know, the traditional approach to Mary is that she's from Magdala, or she's a Magdalean. As in Mary of Bethany, the woman who did the anointing, is a woman named Mary from the city of Bethany, because there were a lot of Marys. So in that spirit of, this is Mary from Magdalene, however, modern scholarship says that's not actually the case. Current approaches suggest that the root of the word is Magdal, which means tower or pillar. She is the first to witness Christ's new life. She is the first to proclaim resurrection. She is written about as someone who is both vulnerable and brave, because she sticks around when life is heavy and dogged, and she searches for the truth until she finds it. She is a pillar of faith and friendship and loyalty. Mary, the pillar. Mary, whose actions tower over those of the fearful disciples. Beloved, when we are faced with such uncertainty and grief, some of us may run in and out of the garden and hope for the best. But I hope some of us will stay around a little longer. And since we can't escape the difficult realities we face, let us at least testify to life in the midst of it. May we weep, may we grieve appropriately, may we doggedly search for the truth and for what is needed. And when we stumble upon life against all the odds, may we rejoice. And may our rejoicing lead us to sharing and testifying to life and love and light throughout the world. So may it be.